Hello Stratters, it's CreepEvee, but you can call me Dylan. And today we are looking at a very interesting deck. I actually got this from my best friend. He brewed this up himself. I thought it was really interesting and thought you guys might enjoy seeing it. So here it is. This deck is based entirely off of, where is it? There we go. Consume Spirit. So Consume Spirit says that you can only spend black mana on X, but Consume Spirit deals X damage to target creature and player and you gain X life. So kind of like a Tendrils of Agony meets Rolling Thunder for Pauper. So it's interesting, it's kind of Black's version of Rolling Thunder, I guess. It's an unusual way to win the game in Pauper for sure, but it can be really interesting. It's just we need to figure out a way to generate 20 mana, well 22 mana, so that we can kill our opponent in one shot. So how do we do that? Well, we look a lot like we're playing a Storm deck. We have Dark Ritual, which for some reason is a loading card art, and Cabal Ritual, but we're not a Storm deck, even though we do have one Storm card in the form of Reaping the Graves. We're trying to just boost our mana normally with Cabal Ritual and Dark Ritual, as well as Songs of the Damned, which is what the deck is kind of... this is pretty much the way that you're going to generate most of your mana, because this is a deck that tries to put a lot of creatures in the graveyard. This is just a fun way of building a lot of mana, and also because we're cycling our creatures, we can draw a lot of cards, draw into our combo pieces. As far as the creatures, we do have essentially cycling creatures, which are my favorite creatures. So we have Monstrous Carabid, Architect's Will. Both of these you've most likely seen with Living Index at Modern, as well as Street Wraith. Some of the ones that might be a little bit more unfamiliar, Horror of the Broken Lands. That one you are most likely going to see played in those decks. It's fairly new, so you might not have seen them. One that you probably haven't seen in those decks is Viscera Dragger. It's cycle 2 colorless. The reasons why it is included in this deck is, one, there aren't a whole lot of black cyclers, and two, it has Unearth, and it gives us a chance to get in for 3 damage with it if we get the opportunity to. If we just didn't manage to get quite enough mana to kill our opponent in one hit, and we've got it engraved and we just need to go ahead and finish our opponent off, we can get him out and go ahead and go for game. Otherwise, we just have a Sign in Blood for draw power. The last creature is Blood Pet. He is a 1 black drop, he's a 1/1, and you sacrifice him to add 1 black mana to your mana pool. So he produces mana while also being a creature in the grave for Songs of the Damned. So you can also get away with playing Lotus Petal, but Lotus Petal doesn't generate you the mana with Songs of the Damned, and also it is fairly expensive on MTGO, whereas this little guy is 4 cents. And as always, I try to look out for the budget players, as I am a budget player myself. So like I said, the other cards we have, Sign in Blood and Reaping the Graves, are I think the only cards we haven't talked about. Return target creature from your graveyard to your hand, and it has Storm. So it's a fun way. You play all of your Cabal Rituals. You Reaping the Graves, get a bunch of targets because you have Storm. Grab a bunch of the creatures that you've cycle them again, and draw into more combo pieces. Just a fun little thing that you can do. Otherwise, our mana base is 15 lands, all basic swamps. We have to have pure black mana to be able to cast Consume Spirit, so using other lands that might generate colorless, even though they might be useful, they're not going to help us get to our ultimate goal, so they're cut out. Now, onto the side deck. The side deck is kind of just a mash of good cards for black, considering that siding in mono black is difficult already, but whenever you consider that it's a combo deck, it's hard to find things to take out whenever you go to side. But for the side deck, he and I kind of worked together. We came up with this list. One Doomblade just for removal. Choking Sands against the Tron matchups, which are so prevalent. Crypt Incursion against some of the Tron lands with flashback or just flashback decks in general. Duress if we're playing against a blue deck with a lot of counters. Echoing Decay for creature decks. Gurmag Angler if we just need to have a blocker and need something that we can hit for 5 with, I guess, in general. If you're playing against a deck with a lot of creatures on the ground, you might need a blocker so you can side him in. Just a one of, seeing as we generally are keeping the things that we're putting in the graveyard there. Nihili Spellbomb, same kind of reasons that we would bring in Crypt Incursion. A lot of flashback cards or Tron decks with Denorva to use Ghostly Flicker over and over again. We can try to shut that down. Shrivel against token decks. All creatures get -1/-1. We have 2 of those. And 2 Wrench Minds against decks that want to hold a lot of cards, like blue decks that want to hold on to a lot of counter spells. We can start trying to whittle those away with Wrench Mind, just basic disruption. So that is the deck. I think that this deck might not be the greatest in the world, but it is extremely fun and it's extremely creative. I really like what he did with it. I haven't played it a lot, but I've watched him play it, and it's really interesting. It's not the easiest deck to pilot, so I'm most likely going to play it very poorly, but I figured it'd be something fun for you guys to check out. So I will throw it over to you guys in the games. Okay guys, playing Pauper with our Consume Spirit deck. We will play first. And this hand is no good. We do not have any land, so we're going to mulligan. Okay, I think this is doable. We only have 1 land, but we have a lot of draw power. And there's our second land, so I'm going to say we keep that on top. And let's play a swamp pass turn. So what we'll do is we'll cycle on his end step. So we'll cycle our horror first. Cycle our street wraith. Cycle our street wraith. So I don't want to say, but I do play, Living End is my favorite deck in Modern, but I don't want to say that because I realize that I'm probably going to be a very poor cycling deck player, and please be patient with me. But as far as this deck is concerned, we're actually doing pretty well right now. We can cycle on our end step because we have our blood pet out. We're already looking at our songs, so that's fine. We're going to sacrifice it, produce black, and we'll cycle our Caribid rather. So we draw another Song of the Damned. So we can generate a lot of mana. But we need to actually get something to do with that mana. So let's look at our graveyard. Let's go ahead and cycle. Cycle the Caribid. So we have Dark Ritual. I think we need to get back some cards with our Reaping the Graves. I want to, let's cast a Dark Ritual into the Cabal Ritual, Reaping the Graves, get 3 back. Yeah, I think that's a good play. I still don't know why I'm not getting the card art for Dark Ritual. Not sure why that's not happening. So let's choose a target. Let's go with Horror of the Broken Lands. Pay 2, yeah. So Reaping the Graves. Storm gets kind of weird with this type of deck. Storm specifically. Carroted. I don't know why I keep saying carroted. Carabid. Okay, we could have gotten back Street Wraith, and honestly that probably would have been a fine play. In fact, we could have gotten 2 and then cycle it twice, but I'm really not sure what our opponent is trying to do here. Do we play the Cabal Ritual? Let's play the Cabal Ritual, and we'll go to 5 mana. And hopefully we draw something. We're definitely going to have a lot of mana to work with whenever we play. Okay, well there's another Reaping the Graves. We could... Let's play Blood Pet. I think we just go all out here, because that's what I like to do with combo decks. So my friend that built this deck is currently on the other side of the room, and he just gave me a thumbs up in response to that idea. So let's do that then. So we'll do that. We're at 18 mana, and our storm count is 7. So we're going to get back quite a few creatures. Don't know whether it is... Not sure why I can't select another target here. Oh, there it goes. Okay, I don't know why I was doing that. I think I may have messed up with what I clicked there. Hopefully it'll be fine though. It wasn't fine because I misclicked a lot of things. Okay, anyway, let's cycle Street Wraith. I'm sure it'll work out fine. Draw 2 Dark Rituals. We're just struggling to get to our combo. We're getting a lot of mana, which is, you know, understandably what we... Alright, there we go. So let's see how much mana we can make. Just because. We essentially have game here. I think that that's evident. Okay, wow, this actually worked. I'm insanely impressed. So we can pay a lot of mana here. It's weird that I pay it like this instead of paying it like you do for, like, Rolling Thunder. So we are casting... Oh, why did it click cancel? It's not my fault that the button is right next to that. Well, guys, we won game 1. We don't normally do that when I play. Okay, so we put him -5. We went to 37 life. We should just wrap it up here so that we can't say that I ever misplay again. Because normally if things go this well in game 1, they're not going to go great in the second and third games. But optimism is good. Optimism is good. So we did not really see what our opponent is playing. He played Basilica or an Orzhov land and then a dead weight. So I don't think that's enough to go on to try siding, especially when siding is as difficult in this deck as it is anyway. Wow, that was fun. I really enjoyed that. That was fun. I don't know how fun it was for our opponent, but it could have been interesting for them, hopefully. I never like to have a match where people don't have fun at all. Wow. And I mean, we obviously would have been better had I not misclicked on the storm counts, but we did get the exact amount of draws that we needed. I think we could have had one more draw had I clicked that properly, maybe 2. But the important thing is that it did happen. A lot of the times whenever I've tested this deck, with a few times that I did, it's just coming up a few mana short and having to, struggle to keep going with it. You're going to have to try to get in some damage with your draggers. Just kind of get desperate. You go through too many cards early on, which is just the nature of combo decks in general. But so we have 3 lands, we have Blood Pet, and we have 2 things to cycle. I think this is good. Our opponent has chosen to go first. Play a Plains, play a Thraben Inspector. So this looks like some type of, maybe like an Orzhov tokens deck. Which, there's some fun builds of them going around now. So he's going to gain 3 life there. Well, that's 3 more mana that we need to produce. So let's... How do I make sure that I've stopped my skip action? Okay. Just want to make sure before I block and it gets killed. So we'll declare blockers. Now that block is declared, cycle. Sorry guys, I'm still getting used to MTGO. Our opponent congratulated us on our turn 2 kill. I'll thank them in just a second. What do we cycle? I think we just go for fastest things to cycle that we can. And let's pass. Just kind of wanted to see whether we drew anything else, but we'll do the other one on their end step. Night's Whisper. So Orzhov Basilica. We're going to take 2. It's not too bad. Let's tap, cycle Architect's Will. Okay, Cabal Ritual. Not exactly what we need. Let's play a Blood Pet. Pass turn. Sacks the Clue. Thraben Inspector is just so good in Pauper. Just a 1/2 for 1 mana. Plus you're getting that potential draw artifact. Let's always want to block too early. Let's block and sack and pay a black, cycle. Okay, Dark Ritual. You're getting pretty close to Threshold. Basically 1 mana away from Threshold. Well, 1 card away from Threshold. So what do we do now? We have nothing but creatures in our discard. So let's go make a lot of mana and get a lot of things back with Reaping Graves. I have been told from the creator of the deck that that is the things that I'm supposed to do. Make a lot of mana, cycle a lot of creatures, rinse and repeat. Let's Reaping the Graves, targeting Horror. Yeah, I was really happy when Amonkhet came out just to see all of this cycling creature support. They are my favorite creature type. Well, I guess I should say card mechanic, to be accurate. So we get 2 Architects of Will and a Horror. Let's cycle the Horror. Draw Cabal Ritual. Well, we have 7 cards in discard, so we'll get a lot of mana from Cabal Ritual now. Cycle, draw. Another Reaping the Graves. Cycle, draw. Monstrous Carabid. Cycle, draw. I mean, we still have 3 mana to work with here. Let's cast our... Yeah, let's cast him. Let's actually get our Blood Pet. Let's get both of our Blood Pets. This is another part of why I like Blood Pet instead of... oh, what do you call it? Lotus Petal? Because playing Blood Pets will not only count towards your storm count, but you can get them back with Reaping the Graves. You can play them again. They add to your storm count just like your Lotus Petals would, but the fact that you can get them back like that just makes a huge difference. Okay, so this one is targeting Blood Pet. That one is targeting the other Blood Pet. No. So we need something to target the other Blood Pet, essentially. Okay, so I think we messed that up again, but we're just going to have one that misses. Oh no, maybe we didn't. Yeah, we missed one, but overall not a huge issue. Okay, so Blood Pet. Let's undo that tap. And let's Architects of Will. Because we need to get a fast mana spell. and it came just too late. We could have done a lot had that not come one too late. Well, it happens. At least we have it for next turn. We can still make this work for sure. So he comes in, gains 2 life. Okay. So like in the Orzhov, life gain, tiny creatures. What do we have? Font to return, font of return, sacrifice font of return, return up to 3 creatures. Okay. Oh, I skipped our turn. Wow, I'm great. Well, at least we won the first game, guys. Remember that, and let's ignore the fact that Dylan accidentally just forgot to play the game. We'll just overlook me on that, I think. Protection from monocolored. Well, we are not trying to hit you with anything, sir, so I do not believe that will affect us. So we have a Horror of the Broken Lands. Let's play Blood Pet. Use Blood Pet to pay for Horror of the Broken Lands because we want to get as many creatures in the grave as we can before we use our songs. Keeping that in mind, let's tap to choose ourselves and draw 2. We get another creature that we can cycle, as well as a dark ritual. If we end up like that, drawing another creature that we can put in the discard. So let's tap that, play dark ritual, so that we can play Blood Pet, sack Blood Pet, and now our Songs of the Damned will be a lot stronger. Our storm count is at 5, so we are going to be careful as we tap our, well, not tap our mana, but assign our storm targets. So click that. So we click Architect of Will. So do we have one assigned to Architect's Will now? I really don't understand how they're choosing the order here, but nonetheless we carry on, and let's get a Monstrous Carabid. We could get a Street Wraith. Or can we? Yeah, let's get a Street Wraith and then a Horror for our last one. I think that's our last one. Maybe this is our last one. Storm is weird on Moto. That would be the summary. So now we see the power of Reaping the Graves whenever we use it properly. I don't know why I got Viscera Dragger. That wasn't the best idea. But so let's cycle. It's not what we need. Let's cycle. Let's cycle. Cycle. Also not what we need. Cycle, not what we need. Cycle. not what we need, but not what we need, if that makes sense. In other words, it's not useless. In fact, we are going to play it now. And we're going to cycle here and hopefully do not draw another land. Well, we drew the combo piece. Well, the combo enabler, but we only have 4 to work with. Let's see, we have 2, 4, 6 damage that we're going to take next turn. So I think we actually have to cast it here for the small amount that we can cast it for, which is 2. We'll just hit our opponent. And the reason why we're casting it for this much is because we actually need to gain life. And we would have had to discard anyway. Of course, we would have discarded one of the many lands that we currently have. But we've gone through a lot of cards. Unfortunately, it does not seem like we got to the right ones. And it also seems like our clock is running very low. Well, that answers the question for us. We have to concede that game. So what can we do with siding? Shrivel doesn't lower it enough because this isn't like a white weenies. They all have pretty large toughness. Crushing Sands doesn't do much. Wrench Mind I don't think is really... I mean, the only thing that I would say would be kill spells, but his creatures do very little damage. It's just that he puts out multiples. So I think we're fine as we are. I think we just need to hit our draws properly. We'll play first. Yeah, this actually looks great. Because we go Blood Pet, end step, we cycle, yada yada yada. We'll have Cabal Ritual, we have Songs of the Damned to get a lot of mana. So we definitely need to play fast because again this week we are running low on time. Combo decks are just difficult for me to do on Moto. Plays the Duress. That's concerning. Well, he has to pick from Cabal Ritual and Songs of the Damned. I think Songs of the Damned is the obvious choice. Yep. So let's crack the pet. Cycle the horror. Let's cycle the card that he's seen. Well, there is our Siphon. Not Siphon. I don't know why I said Siphon. That would be our Consume Spirit. I don't know why I wanted to call that Siphon Mind. Okay, well I think he's going to hit that now. He's made the smart move to side in the Duresses. Assuming it's side, I don't think he would main deck that. In an Orzhov deck, at least. Let's cycle the horror. We draw a land. And we draw another land. This is looking kind of bad for us now. This is looking extremely bad for us now. I guess we could have played the Cabal Ritual, then cycled in case we drew things that we didn't have enough mana to cycle for. Like, in case we drew like another cycler or something. It didn't turn out that way, but in the future, maybe want to consider that. Play Architect's Will here. We'll cycle it. Let's cycle here. Carabid. Let's pass over to his turn and we'll try to do things on our end step. On his end step, rather. I mean, overall, we're not taking much damage yet, so there, in a way, isn't a huge rush for us to try to outperform our opponent here. I assume he's going to bounce, yeah, the Cleric. Let's cycle. See, like, playing the Ritual there because we're out of mana, you get what I'm saying. Can sometimes be useful, but because he wasn't forcing us to discard, I don't really think that we had to play the Dark Ritual. Yep, let's let our opponent see what they want to do. They are going to want to gain life, obviously. Take 2 off the Skyfisher, and we draw Reaping the Graves. Well, we kind of have to do something here, so let's Dark Ritual. That way we'll get our storm count to 1 at least. We'll play Reaping the Graves, targeting Horror, target another Horror, get 2 of them back, cycle 1 of them. We got a Sign in Blood. There's a Cabal Ritual. Let's play that. Use 2 black mana for the Sign in Blood, choosing ourselves. Cycle there. And our train comes to an end here. And we'll let our mana pass. I think that we're dead, guys. Well, the joke's on him. He wasted that duress because we don't have anything that we need. He kills our blood pet. Swings at us. Let's cycle. We draw a Cabal Ritual. The problem is we just have so many of our fast mana enablers already in our discard, and we have so many of our cyclers in our discard that I think that it makes it very difficult for us to win here, not even taking into account the fact that we have to win in 1 minute 47 seconds. Let's Sign in Blood, targeting ourselves. draw Reaping the Graves and a Sign in Blood. So technically we can make something happen here. We just need to be able to draw cards. Let's make a Cabal Ritual happen here. Let's make... Bam. We'll get 5 things with our storm count. Unfortunately, that is where I am slowest at clicking things, but we're going to try to make it happen. So let's get a Carabid, a Architect, a Horror, and another Carabid. Maybe that's the one we didn't click. We'll see. And so now it is a simple matter of cycle all of these and see if we draw our spell, the Consume Spirit. If we had more time, we might be able to do this, because honestly I don't think that there's a way that we would not draw it. But I think that we're going to run out of time here. In fact, I know that we are. But I think that despite the fact that this game was a bust, we did show off that this deck is cool. Let's see what we draw here. We draw 2 lands. So basically what we would have done is we would have played Dark Ritual. Our storm count would have been at 10. We would have played Reaping the Graves. We would have gotten back all of the creatures. We would have cycled all of them, and hopefully we would have drawn into something else, namely some sort of fast mana source and our kill spell. We had 17 cards left in deck, so I'd say it was a pretty high likelihood, but time is a thing, especially whenever you're playing combo decks and you're bad at Moto like I am. But I think that first game showed off what the deck does very well, for sure. But I think that you guys definitely get the idea and see just how fun this deck can be. I'll leave a link to the deck list in the description so you guys can check it out. Make sure to let me know what you think about it. Tell me in the comments what you thought of the video in general, what you think I could improve on. As always, want to get better and produce better videos for you guys. I've been just completely taken aback by all the positive feedback, and I really appreciate it, and I want to continue to make quality videos for you guys. So give me all of that information down below. Also tell me what you want to see next week, whether it's a deck that you want to see played. You can give me your list in the comments and I can take a look at it. We might feature it, or if you want to see maybe do something with paper magic, I could try to get some videos at Friday Night Magic with my camera. Whatever you guys want to see, I want to make what you guys want to see, so let me know. I appreciate you guys watching, and I will see you in the next video.